So my family and I just moved from Allen, Texas to Frisco, Texas. And in that process, we learned so much about making a move smooth. Even though I'm in real estate and I help people do this all the time, there's nothing like actually going through it yourself. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about what we've experienced in that process of moving from one home to the other and give some tips on how to do that as smooth as possible. What's up, everybody? My name is Michael Caraway. I'm a realtor here in the Dallas, Texas Metro. And in this channel, we talk about what it's like to live in the Dallas, Texas Metro, as well as some of the best places to live so you can find out once and for all if Dallas is a good fit for you. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any tips and tricks to living in Dallas, Texas. So moving from one home to another is honestly a really overwhelming process. It's hard to make completely flawless, to be honest. But in this process, we've really identified a few areas where, and few key decisions that we made that really made the process smooth, but also found a few opportunities for us to improve next time that we go around and move too. The one thing I think we did really well in this process this time around was to get rid of all of the stuff that we did not need. There's no sense of moving things you're not going to use anymore. So my first suggestion is to go through your entire house and be really strict about what you are going to take with you and what you can donate it or get rid of. That's going to make the process way easier for you and not have to move as many boxes in the first place. The second tip I have for you is to consider hiring movers. So initially we were going to hire movers ourselves, but we got a few quotes back and we were pretty blown away at the cost that they gave us as far as the estimates go. And we saw that we could rent a U-Haul for literally about a fourth to fifth of the cost. So like, hey, let's just do it. It'll be a long, tough weekend, but it's worth saving that much money. But I can tell you, we ended up putting a lot of time and effort into getting from point A to point B. And we were just moving across town. It'd be a lot more effort if we were moving from one state to another. And so honestly, as much headache is created with moving yourself and the amount of costs that end up adding up by doing it yourself, I would just suggest biting the bullet and hiring a moving company. It's something to consider at least go with the mentality of quoting it out and seeing if it makes sense for you financially. And if not, you can always go back to, getting your U-Haul and doing it all yourself. The third tip I have is to make sure you hire a cleaner before you move in all of your stuff to your new house. Honestly, the most disgusting thing about moving into a new house is that somebody lived there before you and you don't want to see all the stuff that they left behind. And so my suggestion is to hire a cleaning company that can go out ahead of time and do a deep, thorough clean so you know when you're moving in that number one, it's clean. You don't have to worry about doing that once you move in. But number two, you can set up all your stuff knowing that you're not gonna have to move it all around to be able to do all of the carpet cleaning and things like that. For us, that ran about $500 to hire a cleaning company to do a really deep clean, and that could vary depending on what company you hire. The other tip I have that we did not necessarily do well is to make sure that you have somebody lined up to be able to watch your kids while you're moving. For us, most of the people that we were going to lean on to be able to help us ended up being out of town because it was over a holiday weekend, and so we were left watching the kids ourselves while we moved, which basically meant that my wife watched the kids and I moved a lot of it by myself. And it really makes a difference to be able to have both people in a couple to be able to work on moving and unpacking things. So I highly suggest that you make sure ahead of time that you have somebody to watch kids if you have them. Okay, so moving on, one of the other big pain in the butts when you move is having to switch over all of the information, things like driver's license or credit card billing information, all of that kind of stuff. It ends up adding up to a lot of work that you have to do once you do make that move, changing your address and all of that kind of stuff. And it was always kind of just like a shot in the dark of, hey, what do I remember at top of mind right now that I have to update? But my wife actually created a checklist of all of the things that you need to update when you do move. Even if you're moving from out of state, there's an extra level of things that you need to do. And so that's a super helpful list that we just knew going into it what we had to do once we actually officially changed addresses. And if you want that list for your move, then make sure you reach out to me. You can call, text, or email me, and I'll shoot over that list to you as soon as possible. So another mistake that we made in this process was not spending a lot of time on the front end packing up things and making sure everything was in a box before the move. Because we were only moving across town, we really didn't prep for the move as much as we did when we moved from out of state. And that was a mistake because that ended up adding a lot of time on the weekend that we were actually moving, where we basically had to go in all the drawers and throw things in boxes and then go load it up. Whereas when we moved from another state, we spent a lot of time, a few weeks ahead of time, packing and making sure everything was in a box. And so my suggestion is, even if you're not moving from out of state, even if you're moving from, Frisco to Allen or McKinney to Plano or somewhere locally here, put time in ahead of time to make sure that you are packing everything up and that everything's ready to get on the moving truck when moving day does come. It's gonna save you a lot of time and headache, and you'll be able to label things much better if you do it more intentionally on the front end. My last tip is regarding the moving truck size. If you're gonna be moving yourself, this is really relevant because you're not gonna have a moving company to properly estimate how much space you need. Listen, always overshoot on the amount of space, the size of truck that you think you're going to need, because you're not always able to pack as efficiently as you might think. Everybody just has awkward furniture, and the reality is you're not able to stack every square inch of the truck. So always get a bigger truck than what you actually think you need, so you're not having to take multiple trips back and forth. And this is especially important if you're moving from out of state, because you realistically cannot take multiple trips. But if you're moving locally, you do have that luxury, but taking multiple trips adds up time and it's a hassle. We ended up taking 3 trips back and forth from our old house to our new house, and it was a pain and took so long. And so I just recommend getting a bigger truck than you think you need so you can knock it out in one move and not have to worry about a trip back. Guys, as always, no matter where you are in the process, reach out. I'd love to help you find the perfect place to call home here in the Dallas, Texas metro. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email anytime. Seriously, I'm here to help you find the perfect place to call home here in the Dallas, Texas metro. Until next time, I'll see you later.